Hey guys, Bipolar Barbie here. Now, I want to talk today about probably one of the most important topics I think I will ever talk about, and that is how to support someone with borderline personality disorder. Now, there's probably like the two most important things for a successful relationship where borderline personality disorder is involved. Both partners have to be really willing to understand each other. Both partners, I guess, have to have a healthy relationship with themselves, which is probably unlikely because most people don't, especially if you're a borderline. There are just some people, I guess, that will never understand a borderline partner. And they're, I guess, narcissists, for example, or probably the majority of the population. So I think if you are someone who's borderline, not only do you have to take ownership of your own illness and accept responsibility for it and commit to getting, I guess, the help that you need, understanding yourself, but you also need to make sure that you are dating someone that is going to be healthy for you, that you are dating someone who is not triggering you, who is not invalidating you, and who is actually worth your time. So I guess, I don't know, I can't help you if you don't want to help yourself. Your partner can't help you if you don't want to help yourself. And I think at the end of the day, there are, like, most relationships that people are in are not worth it. They are not healthy. And I think we all just need to really take a long, hard look at our relationships. There are plenty of fish in the sea. We need to learn how to value ourselves. And we just need to learn to walk away from people that can't see it. As a borderline, you are determined, you are compelled to prove your worth to someone who can't see it. So I guess ultimately you're proving to, your parents or the people that have traumatized you that you are worthy and they weren't right. This is, I guess, the essence of borderline personality disorder, and it is the reason that it is so destructive, so triggering, and so traumatic for the people that are living with it. And I guess a lot of people say to me, like, oh, no, you're not listening to me. No, borderlines can't understand the other side of the story. Well, you know what? I very much can. The question is, are you listening to me? I have been able to see every single one of my partner's points of view, even if they were narcissistic, even if they were just genuinely a nice guy. Now, there is a lot to borderline personality disorder and dating, and if you're here for sort of an overview of borderline, that's not going to be this video. Check out some of my other videos on borderline first. This is just specifically some of the things that I have learned about borderline love in summary, because I do have another video on how borderline has affected my relationships. One of the things, or the easiest way, I guess, like dating a borderline is very, very easy. There is like a secret to keeping a borderline happy, and that is validation. We're not asking you to understand our pain or accept blame for causing it. We just want you to accept it. My psychiatrist always used to say to me that when someone invalidates me, I get out a megaphone. When someone isn't listening to me, when someone is denying me, and like, what does that look like? When someone's saying, no, you don't think that. No, you don't feel that. No, you don't. No, you're not upset. No, you're not angry. Well, then all of a sudden this triggers this internal invalidation where I'm like, I am angry. You can't deny that I'm not angry because I'm sitting here telling you that I'm angry. And if you cared about me, you would accept that I am angry. And if you want to piss off a borderline, if you want to have a full-blown, atomic war against your partner who might be suffering borderline personality disorder, then go ahead. Deny their emotions. Deny their pain. Tell them that they're crazy. Tell them that they're overreacting. Tell them that they're an idiot. That is the number one way to cause all of this destruction. And a lot of partners, a lot of people that have had negative experiences with a borderline ex will simply sort of say it was all the borderline, they were destructive, they were the ones that caused everything. Well, you know what? You had a role to play in that too. You really did. It doesn't excuse anyone's actions in that relationship. But if you had done this very simple thing and gone, okay, I understand that you're upset. I accept that you're upset. Yes. It's like all of a sudden, I'm calm. Oh, what a relief. You get that I'm upset. Okay, that's cool. Yeah. All of a sudden, that emotion, that is just surging through my body, suddenly just dissipates. It's gone, and I am calm again. But if you don't, that is just going to like fuel this fire inside me, and I'm going to get that megaphone out, and I'm going to get louder, and I'm going to get louder until you start listening to me. And I've been at that point before where it escalates, where I've been denied, where I've been told that I shouldn't be upset. And I guess when you're with a narcissist, it's even more frustrating because it's like, you know what? You slept with my best friend. And they're sitting there being like, oh, well, you're an idiot. Like, why would you even get upset about that? Like, it's not a big deal. But regardless of whether it is a big deal like that, or it's something as simple as like you didn't put your glass in the dishwasher, whatever it may be, then really just denying it is going to make me prove to you how upset and how angry I am. And that is where you will get this generalized stereotypical borderline. Because that's not like their initial reaction, even though they might go from like 0 to a million, you know, very quickly. But there is always an escalation process. There is always somewhere that it began. And I think as a partner, that's where you really need to start to recognize those triggers, start to recognize those escalations. Obviously, as a borderline, you definitely need to recognize those within yourself. So there is a really big inward journey with that. And I think being aware of how, you know, to help a borderline partner, even as a borderline, being aware of what you need as a person, what you need as your partner, and learning how to communicate that. My last relationship was great in that sense. One, the first step was having a guy that was just completely willing and capable of understanding, who was extremely empathetic, who was extremely understanding, and extremely patient. That is the first criteria. And I knew that. After my last disastrous relationship, I knew that I could not date another person like that. So I was very selective about the type of person that I dated because I knew that I needed someone that was capable of fulfilling my needs. And my needs are definitely different to probably anyone else on this planet. I need someone who understands some of the just crazy, irrational, I guess, emotions that I have, because it does stem from like childhood trauma. So it doesn't matter whether or not you think that I should be upset. I think borderlines are so terrified of being abandoned and rejected that they really have a hypersensitivity to it. So it's not like they see rejection and abandonment when it's not there. It's just they're like so sensitive to it that something as simple as not texting them back straight away, as going to the pub after work without telling them, whatever it may be, being like not present and kind of on your phone. Like, these are all sorts of things that really can set a borderline off. And I think being understanding, instead of just, I don't know, if you're standing there like really confused, I understand how it might be confusing. But you definitely need to understand that they're not doing it just to be bitches. They're not doing it just to be, I guess, manipulative. Like, any manipulative behavior that comes from a borderline isn't them trying to get what they want in the sense that they want you to do something, that they want to be manipulative. It's coming from a point where they are in so much pain, where like you were hurting them and they are literally like begging you to take that pain away or to stop that pain. So I think as a borderline, you really need to, I guess, take responsibility for that and work on that yourself. But if you're a partner who really wants to help, then I think you just need to be mindful of the things that really do trigger them and try and, I guess, like, avoid them. If they're trying to communicate to you, because you do get some really good communicative borderlines, and that's what therapy is learning how to communicate your emotions. And everyone has a different communication style, and you are going to have issues in any form of relationship anyway, regardless of what diagnoses they may have. I think borderline is just very specific because it exaggerates like existing issues in a relationship. So things like being late when you pick someone up, to a borderline that really just portrays this message of you don't care about them. And they're going to have strange things that are really important to them because, you know what, we're just like fucked up from a really young age. And they're so terrified of this like abandonment, of not being loved, of not being worthy. There are going to be little things that really do set them off. So I think when they are trying to communicate things to you, they're probably not going to do it in like a really effective way to begin with. So I think that's something to be mindful of, is be really patient. Borderlines, okay, I'm gonna do another video on you on how to communicate to like your partner about like what you need and what you need to be looking for. But as a partner, seriously, don't force them to get that megaphone out. Just accept them. Understand that any of their behaviors are coming from a place of fear. And once you kind of target that, like once you trigger a borderline, then, I mean, the relationship is like almost doomed. I have never come back from that place. It's like this wall goes up inside me once I've been triggered, once I've been hurt in some way, and you ain't ever coming back from that. Like, you're not. Because suddenly my hypersensitivity has just gone like through the roof. And because you have showed me, I guess, that you were capable of hurting me. Like, in the beginning is a perfect opportunity because it's all shiny and new, and to the borderline, you were going to just be the next best thing. They're going to idolize you. They're going to put you on this pedestal. And once you get knocked off that pedestal, then suddenly you are just proving to them their absolute worst fears. And in their attempts to prove that wrong, those drastic attempts to prove that they are worthy and that they do deserve to be loved, they're probably going to do some terrible things. I've done some terrible things in my past that I'm not proud of, but I really understand where they've come from now. And I did blame myself for a lot of them. I was constantly told that I was crazy. But I think the partner really didn't help things at all. They were not understanding. They were not right for me. They were very narcissistic. So it really annoys me when people sit there and just make assumptions and say borderlines are this, borderlines are that. Whenever I read a comment about someone saying, oh, borderlines are like the devil and I did nothing wrong and my borderline partner just absolutely destroyed me, well, you know what? Your pain is valid and you are entitled to that. But I think most of the time the people who say that are actually like the narcissists and are actually the ones that are creating this psychological abuse in their partners. And they will never see that. And that's really sad because they just want to blame anyone and everyone. That's life. Being a borderline is really, really hard. And I think everyone just needs to accept that. A lot of people really do have this like negative stereotype of borderlines, and a lot of people, I guess, do have a bad experience. There are many different types of borderlines, and I think kind of a lot of this stereotype just, I don't know, it's completely unrealistic. A borderline personality disorder is basically someone who has gone through some form of childhood trauma, and it's how it changes their personality as an adult. But at the same time, people are still themselves. So you're still gonna get shit people. Like, there are still people out there in this world that are abusive, that don't care about others. And I don't, like, those are not traits of borderline personality disorder. They're traits of just someone individually as a person. So if you are dating a borderline, I mean, don't kind of freak out of the idea of dating a borderline, because borderlines can be some of the most compassionate, the most empathetic, understanding, genuine people that you can ever meet. I have met more borderlines in this world that have such a huge heart. And I think the reason they have borderline personality disorder is because their heart is so big, it's very, very easily hurt. So honestly, I think, like, if you apply the first rule of listening, of being patient, of understanding, of basically accepting and acknowledging a borderline's emotions, which will calm them down, that will get you in a position where really you can just apply the basic sort of rules and guidelines and advice of dating anyone. You know, like, communication is key. Understanding yourselves is key. Understanding your needs is key. Understanding that everyone has different needs, and a borderline will have a particular set of needs. A need for security, a need to be heard, to be understood, to feel like they are accepted, that they are valid, that they are worthy. And you as a partner, I'm so sorry, guys. You as a partner are definitely going to have the most hold on them. Borderlines can easily be played like puppets on a string. And when someone's self-worth is so heavily attached to your acceptance of them, you have incredible power over them. So you might feel like they have power over you, but that might be nothing compared to the power that you have over them. And I think that's really where it just becomes this power struggle, because they feel like they are out of control of their own lives, of their emotions, and they have been their whole life. So really taking the time to educate yourself, to understand yourself. And if you're watching this video, thank you. Thank you for trying to support your borderline partner. But really, it's just as simple as accepting them. You don't have to understand them. You just have to accept them for who they are. And I think everyone in general really needs to educate themselves on what a healthy relationship is. I think the most volatile type of relationships are where two incomplete people that don't love themselves, that don't know who they are, get together in this codependent relationship because they need one another. I don't like saying that someone is my other half, because it's like two half people only make one whole person. They don't make a partnership. And if it's not a partnership, then it is not a healthy relationship. So definitely weighing up whether, like, you know, your needs matter too. And I think both people need to communicate their needs, because that is the breakdown of, like, every single relationship, whether you are borderline or not. People in general have no idea what their needs are. People have no idea the importance of their needs, how to recognize their needs, or how to communicate their needs. And when I talk to people about relationships, regardless what type of relationship it is, how old they are, how long they've been together, that is the number one issue that I see come up. So I will be doing a video on needs and communicating your needs, because that is something that I have had to learn. I grew up in a world where my needs didn't matter. I wasn't allowed to have needs. I didn't deserve to have needs. So learning how to overcome that has been a really difficult journey for me, and a really worthwhile journey as well. So some tips: look into, like, general relationship tips. Look into the 5 love languages. Google that up, or watch my video on the 5 love languages. Watch some of my other videos on dating a borderline. I hope you found this video helpful. I'm sure I've missed a lot of stuff. So if I think of any more, I'll be posting another video. But let me know how you felt about this one. Any advice that you have for dating a borderline partner. Do you have borderline personality disorder? Have you found a successful relationship? Have you found a way to communicate to your partner what your needs are? Let me know in the comments, because I think it's a conversation that we really do need to talk about. So thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Mwah.